Hello everyone, I'm the Holy Hermit and I welcome you to another gameplay commentary for Diablo 3. These episodes are all about Monk's progress and hence they're called Monk's Update Logs, so this is the second one in those series. Apologies for a little bit of a delay, I've been a little bit unwell. I'm doing okay now, so I thought the first thing I'll do is I'm going to try and record a commentary for you guys. So, for those of you who don't know how these episodes go, this is a very unscripted format where I sit in front of the camera. There is no camera, just in front of the microphone then, and I talk about Monk in general in Season 4. So that's all the focus of the video is going to be about, how the character is looking, how things are moving. And the last episode I made, I recorded the initial progress of Monk, where I just started and I'd spent 2 or 3 days, that was 5 days ago I think, and how Monk is playing out, how is he different from all of this. And that's basically the whole goal of this video, to show you how I've been doing with Monk. So it's more of a personal to-do diary kind of thing, but I also talk about little gameplay mechanics that I can never talk about in my other videos, you know, just a lack of timing and just basically it's not fitting in the schedule. So anything and everything, little in-depth secrets if you will, that I can't cover in a big video, I thought this video would be perfect for it. So that's the format of the video, guys. If you're wondering, yes, I am recording it live, and if you see me fail a lot, you'll see a lot, by the way, I apologize in hand. I'll try to talk and record a commentary at the same time and play, of course, so all of that combined into one. So welcome guys. It's probably going to be like around a half an hour long, but like I said, nothing's decided yet, so we'll go with the flow. And I've got a couple of topics in front of me. I've written them down, just topics that I wanted to cover. The first one, of course, is about getting back to the progression, and I'll kind of delve into like bigger topics from that, so I'll branch out basically. So last time I had Paragon 340 something, I believe. Not a lot of Paragon, as you can imagine. If you start playing games these days, I mean Diablo, the XP that you get because of higher torment difficulties appearing and stuff like that, it's not really hard to farm all of that experience. So if you're like me and if you spend a lot of time in the first couple of days playing the game, then 300, you know, is achievable, which was pretty good. I enjoyed playing. I'm still enjoying playing him, and there I was, guys. I had farmed a very basic Uliana's Monk. I didn't have anything special on me, but just putting the gear set together, I was able to clear a greater of 50. I was also doing a couple of bounty bag runs here and there, trying to put stuff into my cube, you know, so that when I get all the pieces, a fully 16-piece Monk, and that of course is a real thing now, guys, because of the way Kanai's cube is. So 13 pieces are the ones you wear on you, the other 3 pieces are the ones for legendary power, and for Juliana's Monk there's a very specific way you want to gear him. So I think all of that I covered in the last video, but I will talk more about it as I go. So that's part of one of the progress I've been working on, is trying to gear up this Monk completely. And let's stop here for a little bit and I'll show you the gear set I've been setting on. So my Monk almost is where he should be in terms of gearing up this character. Of course, there are niche little things you can change what will make him better as time goes by, and it'll make the difference between me clearing a greater of, you know, 62 or the 63. But in general, I think we're almost there. We're about 90% of the way done, and I thought I'll start the video by sharing this with you. So if we look at the gear set, I have full piece Ulianas, and almost all parts are ancient now. The biggest secret of this build, of course, is the 0 crit build, or the 5% crit chance, because that's what you get by default when you create a character. Most pieces are ancient, so I've got an ancient chest. It took me, I don't know, 200 forgotten souls, probably more, trying to get the 11%, you know, elite chance. It wasn't even like 10 or something, so I wasn't just getting it at all. But it's a pretty good chest piece, as you can see. Headset as well. I mean, I've got vitality and exploding palm. Can't complain really. Got a Hellfire Amulet that I crafted. I will talk a lot about Hellfire Amulet later on, guys, by the way. Got some Gungdo gear, nice cold Gungdo gear. It's got armor on it. I'd rather have some life on hit, but hey, you know, armor works too. Can't complain. Shoulders, I think, are the one pieces that I want to upgrade as soon as possible, because I really don't want the 7-sided strike damage. I'd rather have some vitality there, you know, to make it more even. Area damage, as we all know, is a thing of the... It's kind of a sidetrack thing now. I mean, it's not properly fixed. It still works in some ways, but I'm not going to go and make a video about that and confuse you guys, because there are some ways area damage is very viable, but that's neither here or there. Moving on to the next piece, Juliana's Fury. So that's really good. 46 crit, you know, damage and 8% crit chance. And as you, cooldown. As you can see, guys, I have all resistance, or the particular resistance, on my secondary piece of roll on every item. So this one's pretty good. This one doesn't get any, unluckily. That one has 193 fire rares. This one doesn't have it, and I think this one has 209. So, and this one has cold. So as you can see, this is very important for a monk. And I think since we're going to talk about the niche little things, as I said, I'll talk about the stuff I rarely cover in my videos, because if it's only a 5-minute video, I want to give a quick express guide. This is the opposite. So you must have noticed, and this is the bigger question I'm going to address today, because today I think, or as I'm making the video, I think I'm educated enough, or I can safely say that I'm qualified enough, if you will, to talk about certain things that people, about this topic, which certain people are finding it difficult, and that's how to clear higher greater rifts. I will go on to that later on, and all of that basically ties into how you gear up your character. So that's that. But moving on to the next pieces, I have Focus and Restraint. They both have lower critical hit damage, not high, but they both carry pretty good cooldown reduction, because I rolled that. They both have sockets, so that's pretty ideal. Got an Ancient Belt as well. No all secondary resistance there, but that's because I've rolled normal resistance, all resistance on it. That's pretty good. Pants as well. It's got some life regen on it, and no secondary resistance. That one also could be better. Boots are ancient. I again waited a long time for these, and they never came. But when they did, they're okay. They're not bad. I got exploding palm damage. Can't complain, right? They're fancy shiny green boots, so that works for me. Weapons, Fist of Aztarask. I actually crafted this from cube, and then I upgraded it, ascended, if you will. I like that word, ascend, better than reforge or something. Then yeah, I basically reforged it or ascended it from that, and I got the lowest possible damage roll. But it's an ancient, got vitality, cooldown to all skills is what I re-rolled, and I've used a cube on it. I've used a Ramalandi's gift on it. Same thing goes for Lion's Claw. Got attack speed on it. Same story here. Well, not really, because I did find the ring itself, the weapon itself, but then I used the cube to upgrade it. But a little side note, I will say that please do not be fooled by like, I've got good success. I've been very lucky in terms of getting an ancient item from a normal, but remember, it costs you 50 forgotten souls. That's very expensive. So most of the times, I don't know, you'd rather wait for something like, like a Lion's Claw. But by that I mean you should look for a drop rather than, you trying to upgrade it. If you have too many of these crafting mats, then go for it. If not, then not really. But for items like Fist of Aztarask, the story is different, because it's such high on the drop tables or the loot tables, as in it's very rare to find, that when you find one, I can kind of back you up, and I back myself up by saying that, yeah, you should try to maybe upgrade it to an ancient. So that's what I did. So in all essence, guys, this is my gear right now. Again, 5% crit chance, like how it should be, and I have this much of base damage. Wait, everything's gonna go down. And a base toughness of 61 million. Do remember, this is inflated like how it should be, because I have 2 evasion sources, one coming from Mantra of Salvation, the other one comes from the almighty beautiful passive I used to run way long time ago, Guardian's Path. So it's good to see that people are finding use for this as well now, and they're using it in their build. It's really good. So there you go. So that's the base toughness I set on. If I open the inventory, the toughness can go to some ridiculously high levels. Ignore the damage, of course, because I have the damage shrine for now. But look at this. This is easy. I don't even have my my epiphany on, and we're still like on pretty big numbers here. So things are looking good. And this is monk for you guys, right? So if you're wondering, that a fully stacked ancient monk, which is what I have, and in terms of completion, I'd say it's about 90%, right? Because as I said, there are a couple of roles that I wish would be slightly different. What's the highest rift level I can tackle, right? That's the biggest question you might be having. So I personally, the other day, I was trying to get the achievements done for Kanai's Cube quest, right? The quest, the thing you have, basically your seasonal progress, if you will, where you can unlock portraits and things like that. One of those was to clear a greater of 60. So I attempted 60. Didn't work out, but then I attempted 61 and it worked out like a charm. So I have personally cleared greater of 61 solo. That's my highest record so far, and that's where my monk sits right now. So this monk can kind of comfortably hit a greater of 61 if I get lucky with a good pylon, and the way things are, the RNG gods favoring me, then I probably can very well go up to 65. I'd say the gear is looking good. And again, remember, there are a couple of items that I would like to tweak as the game progresses, and by that I mean in the upcoming months, where you know, I just have to remove, upgrade one stat, remove one stat and put the other one in place of it. Like, you know, you saw somewhere I had gold fine, maybe I can get all resistance there, so I can free up some toughness elsewhere and I can put some damage on it, things like that, little tweaks. So this monk is looking pretty good, but I'm going to move on to a different topic here, since I mentioned briefly, and that's about Greater Rift. So this is a question which I think our community is... Okay, I'll be honest, we're very honest with you guys. I think our community is very not so transparent about, right? And I say that with a lot of hesitation in me, and by that I mean when someone says that I've cleared a greater, you know, my monk can do Greater Rift 65, there are quite a few things that's left, you know, in the air there, and by that I mean, yeah, you can clear it, and what you see and what people say that, okay, these are the skills you need to go for, and if you put these exact sets on, then you'll be able to clear the same Greater Rift level as me. And it's kind of true, guys, and it's kind of not, and that's what I'm kind of going to briefly touch on. By the way, I do have a video planned for this, because I'm going to be making a formal video on this, and it's going to be about etiquettes of Greater Rift, or the secrets of Greater Rift, if you will. And what I mean by this is the builds that you see, builds that people run, the common one, including mine. So if I post let's give you my example, because I can't speak for anyone else, right? And I would never do that. So just me, for example, if I showed you my dash monk and I said at Torment 10 you can clear this by putting these skills on, you have to remember that the biggest secret that I'm not telling you, and this is again me giving you my example, is okay, you can have the gear set and you can do these things, but the other secret is how to exactly play that monk and to maximize your potential. Now the biggest answer, the biggest secret to that you should all know without anyone saying anything, by the way I'm lagging a lot, look at this, is you all need a good Greater Rift, right? You all need to have that good RNG, and a good RNG is a difference between 4 to 5 Greater Rifts, if not more. You know, that if you get a good zombie rift or good pylons in your rift, then you can, let's say for argument's sake, clear 65. If you don't get them, then you might be stuck at, you know, 61, 60, things like that. So that's all well and good, but everyone knows that, right? Everyone is aware that, hey, RNG is a big factor. But what if you can do a little bit more to improve your chances and to get to the Greater Rift that you were promised by a guy like me? So if I said my dash monk could do Greater Rift 60, and you are like, hey man, I tried it, I can do 50, I can do 52, but I can't really go further than that. So, and that's what I'm talking about, guys. That's the transparency. And it's not the person who made the videos being like malicious or anything, but it's something that's, you know, like I said, it doesn't come up when you're making a video or you're showing up a mechanic or a technique, if you will, to do certain things. So that's what I want to focus on, like the video I'll be making, and I'll give you a little sneak peek here, and that's all about how you handle a Greater Rift, because not only does the RNG of Rift, the enemies that you encounter in it, and also the monsters and the pylons that matter, but okay guys, can I safely say I wanna hold my breath a little bit? Oh no, we've startled him. We have startled him. Come on, I should be able to kill you all. If you've never seen me panic, well, this is the time. Don't run away, my friend. I'm just a nice hermit. Come on, couple more. I don't want all. I'll be nice. I'll be reasonable. And the lag is not helping at all. Are you watching this, guys? I completely lost my train of thought, right? That's why I meant when I said this is going to be an informal video about silly things I do. Okay, there's one guy. Hello. Oh, no, you don't. I'm your friend. Give me a hug. Alright, he's going away, isn't he? Come. Alright, I think a couple of them escaped. Well, not really. Let's see how many escaped, guys. And 1, 2, 3. I can live with that. We killed a few. That's good. But yeah, sorry for that that completely tangent, and I kind of became a little schoolboy, like a little kid, fascinated by it. It's so much fun every time you find goblins, right? So there we go. But yeah, guys, so to talk about the other point, like I said, something that people don't mention, and that is how to play a Greater Rift. Like, you need to understand very clearly what your build is good at, and this is a very tricky thing that I think almost everyone that I know suffers from understanding, and I personally as well, because I had to build this thing up in me, because I rarely used to play higher Greater Rift because I never found a build that was interesting for me, right? the way builds are, but that's not a topic neither here or there. So it's something I learned a couple of months ago as well, that if you are the ones who's after higher greater rifts, if you want to get to the leaderboards, then there are certain techniques, certain unknown techniques you need to know if you want to go there. And a little example I can give you is how you want to kite a mob. There are certain enemies in a rift that you almost always must skip. I think some of you probably know about things like these, but others are like, what the hell are you talking about? There are certain monsters that you completely want to skip. There are other monsters you want to kite. There are other monsters that you want to kill in a group with other enemies. There are some elites that you absolutely must kill, and there are others that you don't want to even get anywhere near them. Little etiquettes like that are very important, and this is what I realized, like I said, when I was doing a Greater Rift 61, because I think I even have a better gear now. I had worse gear when I attempted 61, and I could do that simply by following that technique, because I was trying to record that for you guys, but the recording failed. And but what I got from that was this kind of a lesson of how to do this. So this is something, don't you worry guys, because I haven't said much, have I? But I have kind of touched on the topic that it requires a little bit more than what the build says on paper. Your gems, you know, your gear, your stats, all of those are important, but there's another little thing. I wouldn't really call it a skill, because I don't think Diablo in its essence, and I might get hate for that, is a game for skill. It's a game for perseverance. That's why I love Diablo, right? It's a game where you're rewarded the longer you play. The more love you show to it, the better rewards you get. If you want to talk about a game that requires skill, I can probably give you an example, a little bit of Heroes of the Storm, and that's where, you know, you have to plan, you have to strategize, do certain things. In Diablo, in Greater Rift, you more follow like a trend, if you will. I don't know what the word for that to be honest with you guys. So it's kind of skill, but it's the lowest form of skill. Like it's more of a habit, right? It's something you develop as you play the game, and you get good at it. So, and by that I mean, you know, no matter how good you are at a dashing strike and how good you are at evading damage, you can only clear a Greater Rift if you have the right amount of DPS and if you have the right kind of gear. So the only skill, in my humble opinion, and again, as I said, I could be completely wrong guys, and please do share your thoughts. The only skill I think that comes in Diablo is figuring out the next big build, you know, figuring out, hey man, this is a cool way to do something, and you know, if you play it this way, then that's that. And that's why I honestly think that silly me likes to make builds in general, but that's like neither here or there. But the point is, in a game like this, it's not that it's a bad thing that it's not all about skill, but I think it is a cool thing in a way that this game is more about perseverance, because I always value that more than, you know, skill, because sometimes skill is something you're born with, but if you persevere at something, if you work hard towards something, it's like the story of Ascendance, right? Another consumable, guys. I got a last recording as well, that, you know, what would you rather be? Would you rather be a person who is skilled at everything from start, or would you like to build up to it? And I'm definitely the person who'd like to build up to it. But again, that's a little off topic. But to narrow the story down, or kind of wrap it up, if you will, is rifts have a certain etiquette. It's very important, and these etiquettes, I have searched and scoured the internet. I even spoke to some really big people. I haven't found anywhere where people mention that, and I really want to make this video. Now, it's going to be slightly harmful for some people who really run for Greater Rifts and who know this secret already. They'll be like, okay, now everyone knows about it, but I think it's my job as a member of the community to talk about things that can help you become better. That's literally the entire goal of this channel. So I'll make that video, and stay tuned for that, guys. But now we move on to the next topic, and that'll be builds. So this morning I was speaking to a good friend of mine. He's been following the channel for a while, and he's a very advanced monk. I think he's like Paragon 900 or something, 800 or something right now. So he's a pretty big serious player, and he has been for a couple of seasons. He asked me a question about builds. It's like, what do you think about builds? Do you think there are any more builds out there? And he did talk about, there's apparently a monk Sun Wukong build with Tempest Rush or something. I haven't checked it out completely. I know of it. That's pretty cool. So, and he asked me that, do you think that there are other builds out there right now? Do you think that there's a build you can discover in this game that will be pretty game changing? So, and I have answered that in the last couple of podcasts I recorded, and the short answer I'm going to give you guys now is yes, there are some really cool builds that you can make. There are more builds now than there were before Season 4, thanks to the cube. Now you are slightly more flexible in terms of doing things and adding an extra item to that build that you think was not working earlier but now can work because, hey, you got Kanai's cube. So to answer that question, I definitely think so, that there are quite a few builds left to be discovered, and I personally take responsibility for those builds, and trust me, I will be making a couple more build videos. I have actually tried a really cool build today, and I got it up to greater if 50. That's not a lot, but once I get it to 60, I think I'm gonna upload that. So don't worry about those builds, guys. I personally will be making it, but in the grand scheme of things, I do think that there are quite a few other builds out there that you can do that are not exactly as powerful as, you know, an Uliana monk maybe. But if an Uliana's monk can get you to, let's say, greater if 65, 70 with perfect gear and a good RNG, then the builds I'm going to post would take you, you know, 55, 60, things like that. And I think that's kind of important. First, it gives you a different way to play the game, but more importantly, like I talked about earlier, the item requirements for this build, not everyone can farm these, and they are so hard to get. I mean, trust me guys, look at that. Not a lot of Paragon level, 669, but that's still a pretty decent number, right? And I still struggle to get all the items. So if you haven't farmed those items, then maybe you want to try different builds. And if you are like me, and that's the reason why you're on the channel, then you'll probably find it fun too, to try it out. So yes, definitely there are other builds out there. They all work in their own awesome ways. And it's my job to bring some more of those builds to you. So stay tuned for those. And I have some awesome surprises for you. Speaking of a surprise, there's a rhyme heart, so there's a little secret nod there to you guys if you know what this means. It's a pretty cool item. Now you don't have to wear it, you can cube it. And that's exactly what I did this morning when I was trying out something different. So there we go. Now next topic is a little couple of, yeah, I think I just covered about how, I guess I'll add a little bit more because I've written it down here, and that is where these builds would be applicable, right? Because right now there is more need than ever to have specialized builds, and let me tell you what that means. That does not mean a build is only, you know, it's specialized in just, you know, doing greater rifts. It specializes in every single aspect of Diablo, and recently this specialized sector, if you will, where cool things happen, has been widened because now you're required to farm bounties, and they're kind of fun. I mean, yeah, they're not the ideal thing, but hey, we don't have trials anymore, so you will be required to farm bounties every now and then. You will be required to farm normal rifts, so you want the keystones, and you'll be doing greater rifts as well. So these three factors are pretty big. They have been in the game for a while, but now there's more need than ever because the way the gear progresses very quickly, the way you get experience, higher torment difficulties. I think everything that we had earlier needs to be revised, because for the former two topics, which is farming bounties and doing greater rifts, addition of torment 10 means the difficulty has been scaled up. So some builds that were really good earlier on T6 are probably not going to be viable on T10, right? You have, because it's basically playing greater rift 45, so it's like comparing, you know, a 30 to a 45, a 35 to a 45. So you need more builds. So I truly think, look at that flag there. I truly think that the builds need to be revised, and I will work on those. And that's what I meant about specialized sectors in terms of builds and gameplay styles. So greater rift trends will always stay, that you will have one powerful build, which Blizzard will always give you, like they gave you Uliana's build this game. I mean, we didn't have to do much, right? We simply had to just look at the set and like, okay, this is good, and you put Broken Promise on and things look pretty nice. So everything, Blizzard gives you a really cool palette, if you will, to work on. But the builds before that, I think that's where the creativity lies, and more builds from me and other people I'm very sure will come, and they'll show you some really cool ways in the upcoming weeks, months, and hopefully years to, you know, to play the game in a different way. So that's all I have to say about builds. Now, we talked this about a little bit earlier, so I would like to make this into a bigger topic now, which I didn't cover in the last podcast, and I think this is something I should. And this is about gear optimization, right? Like I said, you need to farm items, and they have to be very specific if you want to go on higher greater rifts. So what this means is your period of cycle where you farm for your gear is kind of increased now, because you really do need all those rolls to be pretty much pitch perfect if you want to push the higher to greater rift. And one such item which you can farm on your character, and it's not that hard comparatively to others, and it's something that you all should farm, and I can't stress this enough, and I'll keep saying that, you know, if I could have like a broken record thing going on here, that's all I'll say till the end, and that's to farm a very good Hellfire Amulet. It's crucial, and I can't stress enough how good of an item it is for a monk to have. Now, on paper, of course, as you all know, since they changed the pattern of how Hellfire Amulet is, it basically gives you a guaranteed socket, and the way it naturally works, it gives you a free passive. So a randomly rolled passive with a guaranteed socket. Now what this means is this amulet is pretty easy to farm. I mean, some of you might have horror stories. I can imagine that, you know, you've probably done 20-30 crafts and you haven't found a good one, but be patient with this amulet because it's amazing, simply for the fact that it's the item slot that it occupies, which is amulet. There aren't that many great amulets out there that you'd want to wear, unless you're like a Sun Wukong monk and you really need to wear that Sun Wukong amulet. And again, I'm just going to talk about monks because that's what this is about. This whole talk is about. So, or maybe you really are feeling crazy and you're doing a 0 DPS monk. Maybe I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But you know, that kind of thing, then you might want to wear those amulets. But almost, I'd say 95% of the time, you really should have a Hellfire Amulet on you. And this means you need to have a build and other things that you can, you know, farm ubers fast. You need to farm for those machines and things like that, and you really should spend your time, quite a lot of your time. If you're not satisfied with your gear, if you're wondering what to progress, if you think you've got everything, then I have a simple answer for you. Even if you're a guy who has a cold cold Hellfire Amulet that has 20% cold chance and a 99% crit damage, I'll be the guy. I'll say, okay man, if you really do have free time, then, you know, craft more of those items, because what you can change every time, even if you get good roll or you get a bad roll, is your passives. Your passives are so important, and having a choice or a plethora of these Hellfire Amulets can really make a difference when you're trying a new build, because quite simply it can translate into you getting more toughness or you getting more DPS at a cost of nothing. Because remember, if you want to get damage or other things for any other amulet, then you'll need to have a socket roll in there and you need to have all the offensive stats. Well, you have the same thing with Hellfire Amulet, but you also get as a free legendary power. So it's really, really good. Not a free legendary power, but a free passive power, right? Which is the legendary attribute. So really guys, I think I've kind of tried to scare you with this or pressure you, and I really do mean it, because I want everyone to be good at this game or to get better. And one way, easier way, is to farm really good Hellfire Amulet. If you have spare time, if you're wondering what to do, then definitely farm up those machines. Go to Torment 8, go to Torment 10. I usually play on 8 because, you know, 10s is slightly more tough. Not that it's tough, it just takes too much more time, and I'd rather play on T8 and do very fast clears and do those. So I have this bad habit that I've probably got like 10 Hellfire Amulets with me right now, and I still think I need more because they're not perfect. So that's what I'm gonna do, and by that I mean I'm gonna have one amulet which will be for a broken promise ring with cold damage, you know, for this Uliana's monk, and that is no crit chance on it. The other one's gonna be all out offensive one. I'm gonna make one that's gonna be for cooldown reduction. The other one's gonna be a vitality Hellfire Amulet for the tanky monk, things like that. There are so many amulets you should make and you need to make, so get on that guys. And final thing is about, I think I did touch and I said about the tanky monk, so that's another thing that's been happening, and I did make a video as well, right? I probably might make my version of the build as well, and it's about playing the tanky monk, or the support monk as they're calling it. So that's really a thing right now guys. Like I said, it's your experience you have on you, the gear or the experience gear you have equipped on you is shared with the party, but what the monk with awesome support monk does, that is, he can actually buff the life regeneration of a party to a point where if you can survive being one-shotted from enemies, you basically become invincible. It's kind of a little bug or a side effect of the game that exists right now, but nevertheless, it's actually a build that everyone's been using. And if you're wondering that if you can't find Uliana's monk or something, then that's the way you want to go for. There are so many different ways to make that build, and all of them revolve simply around by using one skill, which is I'm going to show you right now quickly. Everything else you can change it in so many different ways. People think that there's only one way to play, and by that I mean putting bone sets on and having a storm shield. This is where I come in, right? And I tell you guys that please don't follow anyone else's way, find your own way, and I'll tell you how you can make your own monk. So a little do-it-yourself part of this video, and that is Blinding Flash with Soothing Light. And why this is overpowered is it gives you life regeneration, a flat life regen, but this life regen is increased by 90%. So this is the bug right here. Like I said, it's not really a bug, it's something they added a while ago, and all of a sudden someone found that, hey, this is very abusive, because any other skill where I can find life regeneration, which will be, here you go, like 33,000, look at that, life heal amount is increased by 30% of your life per second. Fair enough. Breath of Heaven, heal amount would be increased by 30% of your health glow bonus. So you see a pattern here, guys, right? The heal amount is only increased by a very small amount, and that's the 30% of your stat. Cyclone Strike also has a cool a healing ability, and that heal amount is increased by 17%. I hope you're seeing a pattern here, guys. Heal amount is increased by 30%. So this is why I'm saying that this is a bug in the game. It's more of a after effect of you know, things slightly overlooked at some point because it didn't really matter then, but now it does because someone's found it. And that's why I say it's more of a buggy thing, you know, it's more of a flavor of the month thing than anything else. So point I made right here is everything Monk has in terms of healing is about 30%, right? You have a flat healing amount, and then 30% of your certain stat, whether that's your health bonus or your life per second or whatever, is counted towards healing. Not with this skill, because this is 90%. That's 3 times. So all you do in a monk like this, guys, simply is you stack up lots of life regen. You make tanky gear. You put things like Saint Archu's gear. So many different items make you tanky, and all you do is you reduce your cooldowns to a point where you can spam that skill every 4 or 5 seconds. For 3 seconds, you have an increased healing buff, and doesn't matter how much damage you take, the monk with that heal next to you is going to heal you for like 500,000 health per second, 1,000,000 health per second, some crazy numbers, you know, that it can go up to. And that's basically what that monk is all about. So I probably will make a video of my own at some point just to show you guys of how you can make your own healing monk, and in my silly humble fashion I will make a build that's not been made by anyone else. But still, like I said, the point remains, it's all centered around one skill, and that's you have 90% healing effect going into it, which is slightly unbalanced for now, but it's good that monks can do more than you know, more than just fight, which is kind of cool. No other class can do such support. Monks are amazing at that, so definitely check that out. And as a little DIY, like I said, you should try and work on a build for yourself. Don't really be scared or intimidated by, you know, what other people are running. Just remember, all you need is low cooldown reduction and enough life on hit, or sorry, life per second, and your monk will be as tanky as the next guy. Not much skill is required there, just a little bit of DIY. So good luck with that, guys. All right. And think final topic right now is I'm going to say is about itemization. Remember, guys, this is again a little nod I give to everyone, and a little kind of a reminder, a friendly reminder, if you will, is just to help you get better, and that is always try to save duplicate gear. You should not be the person who is salvaging everything, especially now because you know, you have Kanai's cube. The reason why I can progress so high and so quickly in my game is because I always like to keep duplicate copies of items, especially my set item. And by that I mean, for example, if you're saving a Sun Wuko set which has for example, gloves that have critical hit damage and a critical hit chance with vitality, that's one thing you want to save because maybe you want attack speed on it for some reason. You want to save another one which has stats like 10 critical hit chance and 8 to cooldown reduction, and then you can roll, you know, critical hit damage there. Or maybe you want resource cost reduction there. So even though it takes up a lot of your inventory space, especially when it comes to set items, powerful sets like Uliana's, Raymond, you know, and even Tanwuka for that matter, you really should consider saving duplicate items, especially if they're ancient. You should not throw them away, because eventually an idiot like me will come along and he'll come give you a way of how you want to use that item, and you'd be happy that you had that item, because that's exactly what I did when, you know, the patch came out before the season launched, and I was able to get my monk very quickly to like greater F 60 just by having all the items I needed for the Shenlong monk. So there is that. I think this is about it, guys. Any questions, by the way, you have, any feedback you have on this, like I said, it's something I do where I ramble on for half an hour and you guys are kind enough to listen to it. So any questions you have regarding this, do let me know. Any queries, any monk problems, or any other problems in terms of games, you let me know. Anything you want to express, anything you want to be looked at, I'll be more than happy to give you a hand with that. I think someone did ask me a few questions in the last video. I'm gonna answer a few of these questions, and most people say, hey, you're back and you're playing Diablo again. I'm like, yes, I am playing. I never gave up on Diablo. The thing right now is I've got a slight bit of extra time, so I can play it much more than I normally, you know, was able to. So love this game, never went away from it. If you've been in my clan or in my friends list, you would know I never left. It's just that I have more time now, so there is that. The other one is, I get most of the time I get this question, so I guess this is a good place to answer it. and that is, do I write all the poems that I do? Yes, all of those poems, the silly ones that I write, they're all, literally every one of them. I make them, I compose them, and I try to make it so that they are relevant to the video, what I'm trying to say. So I give you like a little sneak peek if you are keen into, if you have that poetic sense about you. Not that you should or you shouldn't, it's just something weird I do. So if you are like me, then you probably would know what the entire video is going to be about just by hearing the 4 stanzas of the 4 lines. And the other thing is like giving it a big message, you know, some weird message on it. So if you like it, thanks, and if you don't, then I'm sorry, this is what I do. But that's the truth about it, guys. Everything I do there is I write it. Nothing is rehearsed or anything. I would or like copied from anywhere or anything. I just write a couple of lines before I make the video. I write a script, and every script starts with a poem. So that's that. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed Monk's update log number 2 this time, and I am Paragon669. I'm going to be playing a little bit more of Monk. I think I will be playing, not a little bit, I'll be playing a lot more. My goal now is to get more items and gear up the other sets, get all other sets to ancient levels. I'm going to be working on some really cool builds I'll be sharing with you guys. Like I talked about Rifts, I'm going to be making a video on Rift etiquettes of how to play your Rift better. We talked a little bit about how you can optimize your gear by working towards a Hellfire Amulet is really important, and also how you should save your items, especially if they are set items. Look at that lag, it was 7 seconds, 4 seconds, 7 seconds. So things like that we talked about, and then we just had a little 2-question Q&A. So thank you very much for watching the video. I will see you all in the next one. Bye.